Good morning, folks. It's July 4th, 2016, the day of our lords and kings that everybody want to keep ruling us and telling us what to do. But anyway, what are we up to today? So today is mostly going to be a light day. I finally got to work, got some rest, got some food in my belly and some coffee in my veins, and I figured I'd take a hit at the welding. And so, I warn you, this is the ugliest weld you've ever seen, but what I'm trying to do here is just build up material. This is the leg of the backhoe. So I'm building up material doing what's called stick welding. They'd never hire me for a job if you saw my stick welds, but it works. The wind turbine, I was able to do it. This one here is I'm just building up enough material for it to be strong. I hammered it out. The professionals and sanded it down. I'm chipping away at the flux, I think it's called, after I do each weld. So I'm kind of making different hits at it. Problem is we didn't have tons of wind last night, so there's not tons of power in the battery. And as you can see, she's not spinning. So I can weld for a few minutes and I go off and do other things. So, planted some, what did we plant this morning? Jackfruit and sunflowers and a few other things and some mesquite, different variety of mesquite. I think it's a European mesquite. It's a sweet mesquite that makes better pancakes, better flour. So planted a bunch of those this morning. The boys are putting the shade on the greenhouse because the greenhouse obviously gets very hot out here. So we're going to try to dark it out and see what that does for temperature. This is why the Wallapini's design isn't this. This is like a slanted design. The Wallapini's have a flat design, and actually with the Wallapini's only about 2 feet, which is about that, is above the ground. It doesn't shoot up in the air. It just goes flat across. But we had talks about the automation where, when the temperature goes above a certain amount, the tarp automatically pulls over the Wallapini, which darkens things down, cools them down. And plus you're underground, so it's cooler. But right now I'm working on the rainwater capture. Haven't had time to do it. Have time to do it now. Between welding is just pulling down the greenhouse plastic, putting in a channel for the water to go. Right now the plastic was kind of just laid out and it ended up in that tarp down there. But we're having time to work on it. Much as it's been raining, this cover, the greenhouse cover here, would capture a decent amount of rain. What else? Oh yeah, I'll show you a design my son had, which is a great idea. Haven't gotten a chance to get back to the water condensator because, like I said, I don't want to drink the water here, the well water. It's known to be brackish, and we have bad habits of putting things in the ground like DDT and other pesticides and things that end up in our water 50 years later, so I don't want to mess with it. But this is what he came up with, the water condensator. I'm actually kind of interested in see what will happen. But see, the bottom barrel, this is the one where I told you the water can get like, I would swear 150 degrees or hotter. You can barely put your hand in it at the end of the day. So we're going to let that barrel heat up, the dark one, because that's what dark colors do. We might paint it. The problem is also I put it behind the white barrel for where the sun is, so it won't get as hot today, but we'll deal with that. These guys are full. I'm not trying to move them. But the water heats up here. We have a seal around it of plastic. So there's a hole in the top of the barrel. And I think this was a swirl filter in a koi pond I did a long time ago. The water evaporates up into this one, hits the plastic on the top, drips back down, and fills up. So it's interesting. It's interesting to see what that'll do just from how hot it gets now. And then if you're familiar with wind turbines, they have what's required are dump loads. I don't have a dump load yet because I'm here and I'm always running the air conditioner or things to kind of offset the power. A dump load is when you get too much power from a wind turbine, it just dumps that power off somewhere else so it doesn't destroy your batteries or your charge controller. And a lot of times they just use a heater, just something, or a big resistor. So the big resistor, the heater, will go in that barrel. In that barrel, it should heat up. And what will happen when the water heats up, it'll create condensation in the top barrel. We'll do another bulkhead fitting on the side of that, which will shoot out down in the ground, around the ground, and into the pond. So this way, when I bring water in or do rainwater recovery, which, you know, rainwater recovery is not clean either, will actually fill up. I guess at some point it's going to be 10 or 15 ponds inside structures. This is the a sitting pool, which is going to be on the back of the greenhouse, where, you know, and there'll be a structure around it where you can just sit in, cool your feet off. There'll be some goldfish and other things swimming, and that water will be used for aquaponics within the greenhouse. Roughly, that's where we are. That's what we're doing. And then if I can this morning, if it doesn't get too hot, I'm gonna go get this leg back on this backhoe and finish cleaning out the Wallapini earthen greenhouse. You say Wallapini, people don't know what you're talking about. So it's an earthen greenhouse, basically a greenhouse in the ground. It was a wise thing our ancestors used to do, because when you grow your food or plants in the ground, ground temperature is working with you to stabilize the climate. So you always have a 50-degree wall and ground that's fighting whatever's happening in the air. So this particular Wallapini, and here's all the stones and boulders I'm digging up. Kids put those on the side because those are going to be pathways and the floor of this particular Wallapini. Here's some of the stones I'm digging up. That one's probably about 8 inches thick. That's a small one. Here's another. This one's probably about maybe 16 inches thick, and that's still a small one. In the distance, you know, there's one of the bigger ones, but I am hitting some really big boulders in here, and I'm getting better at learning how to break up this particular rock. It's not a, you know, it's not diorite. You know, it's something you can break up. I find if I get down deep underneath it and I pull on it, she'll come up. You know, if you've seen this before, then you know the outline actually is where those little rocks are, the rock trail. So I got to excavate the rest of that. So it's 20 by 50, and in the center or somewhere will be a cob house. And then there'll be a yard, a koi pond, some plants covered by a greenhouse or a greenhouse cover. And at some point in the near future, automation, right? Because I'm not living off grid. Two things: not living in no damn desert. The Wallapini can live in the desert. I'm going to live in a nice, cool space that's geothermal cooled. And two, what's the point of a new grid that has the same failings of the old ones? I'm building a new grid, an automated grid. So, you know, this is where the STK for the Victron controller comes in, and the all the software for rotating the solar panels, managing the solar system, cooling the greenhouse, pumping water from reservoirs that fill up to higher elevations in attempts to regreen the soil. So anyway, at this point, I'm belaboring the point, running my mouth. Last thing I'll show you, the biggest plant, well, not plant, but, you know, this guy right here. She's still jumping out the ground. She looks like she's putting on about, I think she put on like 2 inches yesterday. So, you know, they're starting to step out the ground because of all the rainfall. And very soon, this is more castor and another thing that I don't know what it is. I actually got some more wood chips yesterday. I need to, oh, there's, see the lizards. They all go in between the plants because they're always feeding on the insects that love the water. I love these little guys because they're keeping the insect population down. And there's a serious ant thing going on. It's not really a problem yet, but I actually saw ants coming out of the ground like rain the other day. I don't know what it was, but they were ants with wings, big ones. And there were literally thousands and thousands coming out of one location. There's a centipede. These guys are everywhere. The birds love those. But sunflower, a couple castor, and a Pennsylvania weed. I hope that does well out here. All the ocotillos are green everywhere. And so in the distance, when you look out slowly, it's getting greener and greener and greener because all the ocotillos from all the rain are turning green. Anyway, that's about it. Get on with the day. I'm gonna start the next welding run on this stabilizer. Hopefully you guys have a good day, and, you know, do some contemplations on freedom today. Do some contemplations on independence. You know, I'm not going to get political in this particular channel, but just really consider and ask yourself, what is free? What is independent? And are we going in the directions of freeing humanity and freeing the next generation and making sure they're more independent from power structures and systems that don't always mean humanity the best? Or if we are walking them into having less freedom and less independence and less ability to be human. Anyway, that's it. Just Gerard, got to go. GGWT, Gerard Green and his little portion of West Texas. Got to get out of here. Y'all have a great day. Bye.